time ago, and across the great ocean, there was a town. And in this town were a group of children who, after a long day of studying at school, learning about reading and writing and the mathematics and doing handwork and painting and sculpting and running around in their exercise, all these things that they did, they would like to play after school. And there was one place that they loved best of all, and that was a garden. It was a garden where there were 12 peach trees, and the children loved to climb the trees and to play hide and go seek around the trees. It was their best spot to play. Well, one day as they were playing, all of a sudden they heard, "Who's playing in my garden?" For you see, this garden was the garden of a giant. And the giant, after 7 years of visiting his friend, the Cornish ogre, after listening to him speak for 7 long years, all of a sudden he said, "I'm leaving." And off he went, back to his home. He was seeking some peace and quiet. And when he saw the children running around and making all this noise, he said, "Quiet! I've come here for peace, not a bunch of noise. This is my garden, and my garden is mine alone." And the children fled out of fear. "I will build a wall." And so, day after day, with brick after brick, he made that wall, a very high wall. And at the gate, he wrote a sign, "No trespassers. Trespassers shall be prosecuted." And so, he closed the gate, and there he was, in his own house, in his own garden. Well, spring followed summer, summer followed spring, and soon winter came around. Now the children had nowhere to play, and so they played in the hard ground. And they waited, hoping that spring would come, as it usually did. Soon, for it was a cold, cold winter. For the giant, it was even colder. And after many months of sitting in his home round the fire, "I don't like winter. It is too cold. Winter shall be passing soon," he said to himself, for he was only by himself. Well, winter continued. Now outside of his wall, winter had come, and all the trees around blossomed, and flowers came up, and the land became green, and the snow melted. But here in his garden it was snow, and the north wind, and the frost, and the snow said, "We shall be here forever. This is our place to stay." And the hail would come. "Why is this happening? This is so long of a winter," said the giant. Well, one day he heard a most beautiful sound. "Oh, that is beautiful," said the giant. And he went to his window, and he saw that a tree with a little linnet playing, singing. And he noticed the tree had blossoms. All the trees had blossoms except for one. And he noticed that in all the trees there was a child climbing in. For you see, there became a hole in the wall, and the children had scurried in, and they all climbed the trees. "Oh, what is this?" said the giant. "Spring has come, and so have the children. I think I've been a selfish giant. Yes, I have." And then he noticed in the corner was one tree that still had snow in it and no blossoms at all. And there at the base was a small child trying to get up into that tree. "I have been selfish, but no more." And he snuck down. "I'm going to help that child." But as he was coming, the other children saw him, and their eyes grew wide with fright, and they jumped out of the trees, and off they scurried back into the hole. But not the one little child who was trying to get into the tree, whose tears in his eyes he could not see. And the giant crept up, and he could hear the tree say, "I will bend my branches to you, child. Please come." But it was still not low enough. And then the giant picked up the boy. "Do not be afraid, little one. Come, I will put you in this tree." And the little boy turned and saw the giant, and gave the giant a big hug around his neck. Oh, the warmth that went into the giant's heart. And he put the boy into the tree, and immediately the tree blossomed into pink peach blossoms. And the children out of the hole looked and saw the giant and what he did, and they came out. "Come, my dear friends, I have been selfish, and I apologize, and I shall tear down this wall." And with a big hammer, he began to smash down the wall. And all throughout that day, he played with the children, and they had great time with peals of laughter floating in the wind and in the air. But at the end of the day, the giant looked for the little one. "Where is that little child?" "We don't know who you speak of, giant." "The one I put in the tree." "We don't know him," said the children. Well, day after day, the children would come and play in the garden, and the giant would play with them. And whatever season it was, the children came. And even winter, the giant didn't mind. "I don't hate the winter anymore, for I know it is just spring sleeping." But every day, even though the children came, and he enjoyed playing with them and hearing them, he always felt a little sadness, and he always looked out for that one special boy, the one who touched his heart. But never did he see him. Well, season after season and year after year went by. Children grew older, other children came. And the old giant became older and older and older, and could no longer play the children's games. And he would sit in his rocking chair and listen to the children play and have fun. Well, one day, he was sitting in his home, and he heard the song. It was the song of the linnet. It reminded him of the boy, and he looked outside, and there, in his garden, was a most unusual tree. It was golden, with silver fruit amongst white blossoms. And there at the bottom, at the base of the tree, was the child. He has come back. And with his old creaky legs and his bent back, he raced as fast as he could down the stairs of his home. And he came to the boy, and he said, "You've come back. I have missed you." "I have come back," said the boy. "Years ago, you let me play in your garden. I have come to take you into mine." "I would like that," said the giant. And the giant went against the tree trunk, and he closed his eyes, and his chin went to his chest, and he smiled. The children that day came, and there was a pile of blossoms, white blossoms. "Where is the giant?" they said. And then they noticed the pile, and the giant was no more.